The following is a class on the Bhagavad Gita as it is, 7th chapter, text number 1, given by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, recorded on July 1st, 1972, in San Diego.
Chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the nature of Krishna consciousness is fully described. Krishna is full in all opulences, and how he manifests such opulences is described herein. Also, 4 kinds of fortunate people who become attached to Krishna, and 4 kinds of unfortunate people who never take to Krishna, are described in this chapter. In the first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, the living entity has been described as non-material spirit soul, which is capable of elevating himself to self-realization by different types of yogas. At the end of the 6th chapter, it has been clearly stated that the steady concentration of the mind upon Krishna, or in other words, Krishna consciousness, is the highest form of all yoga. By concentrating one's mind upon Krishna, one is able to know the absolute truth completely, but not otherwise. Impersonal Brahma Jyoti or localized Paramatma realization is not perfect knowledge of the absolute truth, because it is partial. Full and scientific knowledge is Krishna, and everything is revealed to the person in Krishna consciousness. In complete Krishna consciousness, one knows that Krishna is ultimate knowledge beyond any doubt. Different types of yoga are only stepping stones on the path of Krishna consciousness. One who takes directly to Krishna consciousness automatically knows about Brahma Jyoti and Paramatma in full. By practice of Krishna consciousness yoga, one can know everything in full, namely the absolute truth, the living entities, the material nature, and their manifestations with paraphernalia. One should therefore begin yoga practice, as directed in the last verse of the 6th chapter. Concentration of the mind upon Krishna, the Supreme, is made possible by prescribed devotional service in 9 different forms, of which
there are many persons who like meditation. Nowadays it is very popular, especially in your country. But when you ask them what is the subject of meditation, they cannot say. Can you say what is the subject of meditation? Anyone who is little aware of this meditation? What is that meditation?
The process of negation. The process of negation. For some
Negation how?
Taking feeling
Negation, something positive you negate. So what is that positive and what is that negation? Nobody can answer. That means these are manufacturing. Actually, there is no fixed up knowledge. There's like somebody was asked, transcendental meditation. What is the transcendental meditation? Can anyone explain?
I went to one of their meetings and it was just, they talked about something concentrating, feeling something going down like this and coming up. It was just
not very, I want to say, clear. Something vague. So, this will not help. Here is a positive proposition that you concentrate on the form of Krishna. Maya Sakta Manapna. Yoginam api sarvesam madgata antaratmana saddhavan. Antaratmana. One has to fix up the form. Actual yoga system is to concentrate on the form of Vishnu. Dhyanavastita tadgatina manasa. By meditation means to concentrate the mind without being diverted to any other subject, simply thinking of Lord Vishnu. That is the yoga meditation recommended in Vedic literature. So here also Krishna says, me, Krishna and Vishnu the same. Vishnu is expansion of Krishna. So, when we concentrate our mind upon Krishna, Vishnu is included there. Go on.
Concentration of the mind upon Krishna, the Supreme, is made possible by prescribed devotional service in 9 different forms, of which Shravanam is the first and most important.
So our yoga system is not like that we whole day, 23 hours and 45 minutes, I engage myself in all nonsensical activities, and 15 minutes I concentrate my mind with meditation. That kind of yoga system is not here. Here, 24 hours meditation. Even during sleeping, 24 hours means during sleeping hours also. Life should be molded in such a way that 24 hours you'll be able to think of Krishna. So, we are engaging our students in so many Krishna activities. They are going to the park, chanting Hare Krishna, or distributing literature. All these activities, remembering Krishna. They have no other, thought except Krishna. So, this 15 minutes, 20 minutes sitting is all right. But one who is 24 hours thinking of Krishna or Vishnu, how far he is advanced, that can we imagine. Therefore Krishna says personally, Yoginam api sarvesham, of all the yogis. There are different types of yogis. It is not that just like we do some other business, 23 hours, 45 minutes, and 15 minutes we sit down for meditation. No. 24. Kirtaniya sadahari. Sada means 24 hours. That is recommendation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Tinadapi sunitena tarorapi sahisnuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sada. To execute this 24 hours meditation, one has to become very humble, because so many people will criticize. Just like last night or after this, you were saying that some of his fellow officer was criticizing. So we have to tolerate. Just like when the elephant passes, many dogs bark. So we do not care for these dogs barking. As elephant, we must go on gravely. Therefore, tinadapi sunichena, tarorapi sahisnuna, we have to execute this 24 hours Krishna business, Krishna consciousness, always absorbed in thought of Krishna, in sitting, in walking, in eating, in sleeping, everything, in working. That is first class yoga. It is also yoga, first class yoga, not third class, fourth class yoga. Of course, any yoga system, we cannot say it is third class, fourth class, but when we make comparative study, there must be something better or something inferior. Just like we have already described. You have got a staircase to go to the 100th floor. So one has gone 20 steps, one has gone 50 steps, one has gone 75 steps, one has gone full 100 steps. So one who has gone 25 steps, he cannot be compared with one who has gone 100 steps. Similarly, the yoga system is just like a staircase for going to the spiritual world. So one who has taken to Krishna consciousness, he is on the top. Topmost yoga system. Gone.
The Lord therefore says to Arjuna, Tat Shrinu, or hear from me. No one can be a greater authority than Krishna, and therefore by hearing from him...
Here is another important point. We have to learn by listening from somebody. Tad vijnanatham sa guru meva avivaccha. We approach Guru for hearing from the truth. Just like child listens from the parents and he learns to speak, he learns to know what is what. The father says, this is this. The child also says, this is this. The father says, this is spoon. The child also says, this is spoon. So he learns by hearing. Mother language means if the child is handed over to some other person whose language is different from the mother, he will learn from the very beginning, he will learn that language. So hearing is very important. Therefore, our bhakti process, bhakti yoga process is hearing. The more you give oral reception to the transcendental message, more you become expert. You haven't got to become a PhD or very learned fellow or very scholar. No. Even a child without any education, he can also become Krishna conscious simply by hearing. In Los Angeles, our child friend, he's only 3 years old. He said so many mantras. He has learned. Yes. So many. Of course, one child may be especially intelligent, but anyone can learn. The method is simply here and seeing the behavior. You put one child in this association, automatically with his growth he will become a Vaishnava, a Krishna conscious devotee. Automatically. By seeing these activities. Manvana bhavavad bhakta madhyaji mang namastu. By thinking of Krishna, because the child will get the opportunity for hearing the word Krishna, Krishna. Everyone has got God-gifted instrument, this ear, and if we give oral reception, we'll learn. There is no need of education. ABCD, no. So, hearing is so important. The Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's preaching was, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's this propaganda, Sankirtan movement, he has given stress on this hearing process. Thane sthita sutigatang tanuvang manohi. You can remain in your place. You don't say that you change your place. Whatever you are, you remain. If you are American, you remain American. If you are Hindu, you remain Hindu. If you are Muslim, you remain Muslim. We don't say that first of all you become a Hindu or this or that. No. We simply request, please come here, sit down and hear. That's all. This is the yoga system. Hearing yoga system. We don't say press that you do this, you do that. We say the regulatory principle when one is seriously become our intimate friend or member, then we say that we have to follow the rules and regulations. That we'll agree. If he has actually heard our words then immediately he left. It is not very difficult. So hearing is so important. Savanam. Savanam means hearing. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was talking with Ramananda Rai, the process of self-realization. You'll have it for those who have got teachings of Lord Chaitanya. He'll read it when Ramananda Rai and Lord Chaitanya are speaking. So, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked Ramananda Rai, what is the best process for self-realization? Because life is meant for self-realization. This human life is meant for self-realization. Atma Tattvam. Otherwise it is animal life. The animals, the cats and dogs, they are not interested in self-realization. But human life is meant for self-realization. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu questioned Ramananda Rai, so what is the best process of self-realization? He recommended, first of all, the Varnashram dharma. Varnashram charvatam purushena parapraman Vishnu aradhate pungsha nanna tatto sukaran. The real business is Vishnu aradhana. Vishnu, the all-pervading Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is within the atom, who is within your heart, and who is also in his Goloka Vrindavan, that all-pervading. So, Varnashram dharma means how to realize that supreme all-pervading God. That is Varna. Varna means four social division, Brahman, Kshatri, Vaishya, Shudra, and ashram means four spiritual division, Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha. So, accepting these four spiritual and four material principles of life, that is humanity. One who is not within this category, Varnashram dharma, he is not accepted as a human being or a civilized being. In the civilized nation, there is the four divisions of spiritual life and four divisions of, but they do not know it. But those who are followers of Vedic culture, they know how the divisions are to know. Just like in your body, you have got four divisions. The head division, the arms division, the belly division, and the leg division. They are all required. It is not that simply you have got a nice brain like Professor Einstein, that will do. No. You must have hands also, you must have belly, you must have legs. Then it is complete. The head is most important part of the body, that is all right, but leg is also required. You cannot neglect leg. Similarly, this division is very scientific. Intelligent class of men and martial class of men and productive class of men and liberal class of men. When we compare the liberal class of men with intellectual class of men, there is difference. But both of them are important factors to maintain this body. That is called Varnashram. So life's aim is self-realization. Vishnu, not the skyscraper. These are piling stones and woods. This is not very intelligent one. The woods and stones and earth is there already, big mountain hills. You do the business of a porter, carry it out, and heap it in one place. It becomes a skyscraper building, and if you simply are proud of these heaps of stones and woods and iron, that is not civilization. That is not civilization. Civilization is that the living entity who is using these resources to know what is actual business. This piling of stones and wood is done also by the birds. They also pick up, according to their strength, some twigs, and they make a nest. That intelligence is there. The rat also, he makes subway. So this is not very intelligent one. To imitate the rats, the birds, the cats, the dogs, that is not civilization. Civilization means self-realization, what I am. Why I am forced to die? I do not like to die. To know this, that is civilization. When all these inquiries will come into one's mind, well, I do not wish to die. Why death is there? I am forced to die. I do not wish to be diseased. Why disease comes upon me? When this why question will come, why? That is human. And if he remains dull, all right, let me die, then he is cat and dog. That's all. If there is no why, then he is cat and dog. So, human civilization does not mean this piling of woods and stone. No, that is not it. Human civilization means Brahma Jigyasa, inquiry. These are inquiry. Why? Why I am forced to do? These things are taught regularly in the Varnashram system. One is made brahmachari, celibacy, spiritual. One is made very decently, family life, grihastha. One is made retired life, sannyasi, very systematic. If we don't follow the Varnashram dharma, then we are not even human beings. They are cats and dogs. So therefore Ramananda Rai proposed this Varnashramacharya. He quoted from Vishnu Purana. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, oh, this is rejected. Immediately rejected. Now so scientific institution of Varnashram dharma system coming from very early age. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, this is external. Say something better. So in this way, Ramananda Rai was putting some better proposal than Varnashram dharma, then Varnashram tyag. Tyag means renouncing, renounce order. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu speaking, no, it is not very important. Go more. So when Chaitanya Ramananda Rai quoted one verse from Bhagavatam, which was spoken by Brahma, that Jnane prayasam mudapasanamanta eva. When one gives up this nonsense speculative process, everyone is speculating. The scientist, philosopher, everyone is speculating. Just to show himself that he has grown very learned, he can put some theory, So this is first rejected. Brahma says, Brahma's experience, he is the topmost living creature within this universe. He said that when a person will give up this nonsense habit of speculation, jnane prayasam udapasam, he must become submissive. One should not pose himself that he knows something, he can speculate something, he can invent something, just like the so-called scientists, they are simply speculating and wasting labor. Nothing can be done by you, everything is already arranged, you cannot change. You can simply see how the law is working, so much you can do. But neither you can change the law, you can make a better facility for the law. No, that you cannot. Vividhisha gunamai mama maya duruttaya. Duruttaya means it is very difficult. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was informed the statement of Brahma, that one should give up the speculative method, that he can create something. These nonsense habits should be given up. He must become very humble, humbler than the grass. Just like we trample over the grass, it does not protest. All right, sir, you go. That type of humble. Tinadapi sunichena taroropi sahisnuna. Taro means tree. Tree so much perseverance. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Jnane prayasam udapasana namanta iva, and then I give up the speculative process and I become humbler as usual. Then what is my next duty? Next duty is namanta eva, being humble, salmukharitang bhavadiyavata. You should approach a person who is a devotee and you should hear from him. Thane sthita, you remain in your place, you remain American, you remain Indian, you remain Christian, you remain Hindu, you remain black, you remain white, you remain woman, man, whatever you are. Simply you lend your ear to the discourses given by realized soul. This is the comment. And when you hear, then you contemplate also, just like you are hearing me, if you contemplate that what Swami said, Thane sthita sutigatang tanuvang manohi, sutigatang, suti means just receiving through the ear. If you contemplate and try to understand with your body, mind, then gradually, because your aim is self-realization, the self means super self, the Supreme Lord is the Supreme Self, we are part and parcel. So, by this process, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, God, Ajita, one who is never conquered. If you, by challenge, if you want to know God, you'll never understand. God never accepts challenge. Because God is great, why should He accept your challenge? If you say, oh, my dear God, please come here, I shall see you. The God is not like that. That He will carry your order. You must carry His order. Then God will. When God says, you surrender. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam saranam. That process you will learn God. Not that, oh, I shall know God. I have got good intelligence. Speculate. No. So this hearing, we are talking of the hearing process is so important. All our this institute, Krishna consciousness movement has spread because the students who have joined us, they have given oral reception by hearing. The hearing, everything was changed within themselves, and they have joined with wholeheartedness, and the going on. The hearing is so important. We are opening so many centers just to give people chance of hearing about the transcendental. So you take chance, you take the advantage of this hearing process.
No one can be a greater authority than Krishna, and therefore
yes, then hearing from Krishna. The Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is speaking. So hear from him. If we say that Krishna is no longer present before me, no, Krishna is present by his Bhagavad Gita. His words and there is no difference. Absolute. Absolute. If you pollute the words, Krishna is speaking something and you are rascal nonsense explaining in different way, then it has no meaning. Then Krishna is gone. But if you speak as Krishna is speaking, then it is. Krishna is present before you by his words, immediately. By his word, you can see Krishna. Just like the Brahmin in South India, you are illiterate, you are trying to read Bhagavad Gita, but immediately Krishna becomes present before his eyes, and he was crying. He was crying. That is it. So Krishna can be present by his word, because Krishna's word and Krishna is not different, absolutely. If you actually accept Krishna in the form of Bhagavad Gita, then you are directly associating with Krishna, as Arjuna was doing. There will be no difficulty. Ajita. Krishna is unconquered, but simply by your humble, receptive process, you will conquer over Krishna. How will conquer? He is already within your heart. You will realize that here is Krishna. That is conquer.
No one can be a greater authority than Krishna, and therefore by hearing from him, one receives the greatest opportunity for progress in Krishna consciousness. One has therefore to learn from Krishna directly, or from a pure devotee of Krishna, and not from a non-devotee upstart, puffed up with academic education. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, this process of understanding Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth, is described in the second chapter of the first canto as follows. Shrinvatang swakatang Krishnak punya shravana kirtana hridyantasto hyabadrani vidunoti suhitsatang nashta prayeshva badreshu nityang bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki tada rajastamo bhava kamulo badayascha ye cheta etayarana vidham stittam sattve prasidati evam prasanna manaso bhagavad bhakti jogataha bhagavad tattva vijnanam mukta sangasya jayate vidyate hridaya grantish chidyante sarva samshaya shiyante chasya karmani drishta evatmanishvare. Quote, to hear about Krishna from Vedic literatures, or to hear from him directly through the Bhagavad Gita, is itself righteous activity. And for one who hears about Krishna, Lord Krishna, who is dwelling in everyone's heart, acts as a well-wishing friend and purifies the devotee who constantly engages in hearing of him. In this way, a devotee naturally develops his dormant transcendental knowledge. As he hears more about Krishna from the Bhagavatam and from the devotees, he becomes fixed in the devotional service of the Lord. And by development of devotional service, one becomes freed from the modes of passion and ignorance, and thus material lusts and avarice are diminished.
This is the process. by hearing, you become pious. Those who are hearing in this meeting, even they cannot understand the words which we are discussing, he is becoming purer. He is becoming, that is like one becomes purer by acting piously. So, simply hearing, if one cannot understand the whole thing, he becomes pious. Punna savana kita. One who is speaking Krishna's words and one who is hearing Krishna's words, both of them are becoming purified. So if we hear daily, regularly, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, then Nashta Prayashu Abhadreshu, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. If you hear daily, just like we are holding class daily in the morning, and Bhagavata Sevaya, Seva means service, to make the place nicely clean, so that devotees will sit down and Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita will be discussed. This is called Bhagavata Seva, serving the Bhagavata. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, Nasta Prayashu Avadreshu. The whole difficulty is that our heart is covered with so many dirty things. So by this process, this Bhagavata Seva, the dirty things will be clean. Not that exactly all cleans, even a little portion is clean. Nasta Prayashu, not fully clean. Prayashu, almost. Then, immediately, Bhagavati Uttamasvati Bhakti Bhavati Nasti.